coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
When we leave a ministry role, you are either going to leave a mess or you are going to leave a bless. And guess what?
Right.
You walked into a mess.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. My name is Josh Denhart. Grateful that you're here. You can hear this on audio on all of your Spotify or Apple Podcasts or the like, but you can also watch this on YouTube. So just in case if you don't know, we do have a YouTube channel that all of these are high-end videos with lots of great graphics and lots of great fun stuff. Well, we are in this series about ministry coaching. We're talking to people who are certified lead ministry coaches, like myself and a handful of others. And we're also talking to people who have gone through lead ministry coaching. And so today is a special day when we are talking with my good friend, Cathy Story. So grateful to see you.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Josh.
Hey, you betcha. I want to just hear a little bit of your story, introduce yourself. We'll get into how coaching has benefited you over the years and all that stuff. But I want to just give everybody a little bit of a backstory about who you are, and we'll see where we go.
Sure. Cathy Story. I am currently serving on church staff as the pastor to family ministry and full-time divinity school student. And I've been in ministry serving for 30 years.
Yes.
And I'm a wife. We're celebrating our 37th anniversary this summer, and we have 3 kids and 3 grandkids. Our youngest grandchild is 7 weeks old, and she's just precious.
And you were just hanging out with her right before this call.
I was. I rushed home to get onto this call from her.
That's awesome. I'm very, very grateful for that. Well, we got a lot of great things in store. Today, we are talking about the power of ministry coaching, which I'm excited about. And we have these 3 big buckets on the podcast. Let's define it, let's develop it, and let's do it. And so from a definition standpoint, we're going to ask the question, what is ministry coaching? I'm going to read this out loud, Cathy, and then I just want you to respond with what stood out to you the most, okay? And so here it is. What is ministry coaching? A ministry coach is a spiritual leader who provides tailored support, tailored guidance, and tailored encouragement to individuals, helping them grow in their faith, their personal development, and their career in the church. So from just a reflection standpoint, what stands out to you in terms of this definition?
I think the word tailored, because we've been walking this road together for a while, and in the different ministry contexts, it just seems to be whatever's going on at the time, you're helping me think through those big things. And so it's very much tailored.
Yeah, it has been tailored. And you, almost of anybody, right? You know that I take 12 people a year, and it's been a real blessing. But it's been very unique that you were in 2 completely different ministry contexts. And it was very exciting to support you in the new role that you took at your previous church. And it was a big church. What was the size of your church?
Oh, gosh. I could not tell you the size of adults, but I was the children's ministry director, and we had on any given Sunday between 250 to 325 kids.
Pretty good sized church. Yeah, good sized church. And I came to your church, did the amazing chemistry show, super fun, met your husband. And so it's always fun for me when I'm doing ministry coaching with somebody to get into their world, get into their context, meet them face to face, see the church, see the different players at their church. And so again, it's just kind of worked out that way, but it was a special thing to see you in that context. But your context has utterly shifted now.
Right. Complete opposite. So I went from a very large church serving on staff. I was there 4.5 years to a small church where a replant. And so the church got down to about 12 people and all senior adults.
Yep.
And so I'm on board as the family minister, and we're just growing and rebuilding and
you guys are growing. You are growing.
We are. We have probably regular attendance now, 35 to 40 on a Sunday.
That's
with
over double.
60 on our list. If we all showed up at the same time, it'd be 50 to 60 people. So interesting. It's still my age and older. We still do not have children. But that's okay because this is where God has us right now.
In addition, this unique tailored approach to, coaching, you're doing grandparenting ministry.
We are.
And, it was fun to be able to resource you and to, kind of send you in a particular direction in that realm. Well, I want to go down to this next quote. What is ministry coaching? Here's a second stab at it. And I'll ask for you to just what your highlights are from this. It says, ministry coaching is a partnership between a coach and a ministry leader to help them identify their strengths, overcome challenges, and achieve goals in a faith-based context. It's a collaborative conversation that empowers individuals to live out God's calling and effectively serve in ministry. So what stands out to you in this particular quote?
The word partnership is a big word. And then just the identifying strengths, overcoming challenges, and achieving goals, because we've done all of that throughout the process.
Yes, we have.
Depending on the conversation. And so it's been really nice to have someone to really just talk through things with.
Yeah.
And strategize and think through different things.
And again, I can't emphasize enough the dichotomy of the different ministry experiences that you have had. Big church, all of the things that you would expect, a large staff, a large budget, a lot of large staff complexities. Okay, well, we had to navigate all of those, but then now you're at a very micro, even nationally, the national average for a church site is 125, and this is very small church, but still has challenges, but still has nuances. And so together we've been able to kind of guide you and guide one another and it's been very, very, very fun. Now, I want to do this kind of interview style about how coaching could support a person. And this first one that I want to ask is, what was your first interaction with lead ministry? Now, I hope that you tell the story that I'm thinking you're going to tell, but go ahead.
Okay, so during COVID, I just had started at my last church part-time as the preschool ministry coordinator, and the Children's Pastors Conference from Florida went online. And in that conference, you were doing a breakout session and they did something about the Lead Volunteers podcast.
Yes.
And so I listened to that for probably a year.
Yes.
And then as I was listening to that one day, driving to an appointment, I heard you talking about coaching. And I went, oh, I need this, because I had just gone from being the part-time preschool coordinator 20 hours a week to stepping in as interim director and then director of this huge children's ministry.
Yeah, it was big.
And so I heard you on the radio and I went, okay, as soon as I got to the parking lot, I sent you an email because I knew I needed help.
And you know what? This was the story. This was the story that I hoped you would tell, because it really, it encourages and blesses me. And here's why, Cathy. People don't realize this, but the podcast is work. I mean, it's a labor of love, but just like Sunday morning never ceases. Every 7 days, you've got another Sunday morning. Every 7 days, another podcast needs to be produced. And it's a work. It's a lot of effort to put this on. However, my goal is to help people. And you, Cathy, you are a benchmark for me that it's worth it, because did some random podcast, pushed it out to the ether. Who knows if even anybody's going to listen to it. And all of a sudden it meant something to you, and it established a relatively long-term relationship that we've had. I mean, we've been doing this for quite a while now.
Right. But I'm going to say your podcast, that whole year of listening to your content on the podcast was so helpful in ministry.
Oh, wow.
I just needed more because of the situation I was stepping into in that ministry role.
Yes. And another thing that I think is very important for people to understand is that you have been in a ministry context for 30 years, you said?
Yeah.
And at the latter half of your ministry career, ministry coaching actually came in to be quite beneficial to you.
Absolutely. I think everyone can benefit from a ministry coach, no matter where you're at in the process, because there's always something new you're having to think through, deal with.
Yep.
Things change. Children's ministry has changed the last 30 years. I'm now no longer doing children's ministry. I'm doing family ministry.
Yes.
That's a change. And so I think having a coach help you walk through staying on top of those changes is phenomenal.
Yeah, it has been a very, very, very positive experience for me as well. So that was your first interaction. So how long, just to give the listeners an idea, I think that I know, but you're going to have to remind me, how long have you been a member of Lead Ministry and how long have you been a part of the coaching program?
4 years?
I was going to say 3, but I think it's 4.
Was it 21?
Yes, it was. And what's so cool about that is, what I have found, I only take 12 people a year, and it's just becoming more and more and more rare that somebody drops off and somebody new joins. Like, I just have this layer of consistency because it's a friendship, it's a mentorship, it's a challenge, it's a, when appropriate, a push, it's a listening ear, it's a different perspective. And, these people become my friends. You've become my friend. And so I do see that it is greatly benefiting you. And I can sometimes hear your pen just scratching along as we're talking. You're like, I'm listening. I'm just taking notes. Keep going.
Right.
So it's been special.
It's very special. And I was talking to someone about ministry coaching. I said, look, you've got to have a ministry coach because especially when you're starting out, talking to some of the younger people at the divinity school, and I'm even doing divinity school late, right?
Yeah.
But just to have someone who's not connected to your church, not connected to your association and to the immediate structure that you can go to and talk through things so that you can handle it best.
Yes.
I think that's just phenomenal to have that partner.
Yes. And somebody, again, like you already stated so eloquently, not a part of your town, not a part of your church, not a part of your denomination. You need somebody outside of yourself. Okay. So kind of already stated it that you were in a new situation. You were a little bit over your head, maybe with a new role, but what did draw you to getting a ministry coach? Put some words to that.
Well, so when I transitioned from part-time preschool coordinator to full-time children's ministry director and had the staff under me, it was during a very hard time for the team. The previous person left immediately without, a lot of notice, and took a lot of the team with him and volunteers. And so when you have a big transition like that, a turnover where you can't really talk about everything that went on, it's hard.
Yeah. Because it is so ripe, because it's like, hey, this person just did not the best thing. And how am I supposed to process this? Because otherwise it's gossip. Otherwise it's tearing somebody down. But I need to dialogue about this.
Right. And then just because I was the new person on the team to begin with, just having someone to talk to, but also it was a big church. I had not served at a church that size.
Yep.
And so thinking through processes and and volunteers and how do you recruit volunteers today? Because it's different than it was 30 years ago.
Yes.
And how do you lead meetings that are effective because people don't like to come to meetings and just all of those things that I needed to catch up with. And that's what's invaluable.
Yeah. And, I saw you just eat up the material. And every call, of course, is recorded, every one of the coaching calls that we have. And I just got so tickled that you would go back and rewatch our calls and take more notes and say, okay, now what did he say? How did he say that? Those things, that's just encouraged me when you would tell me those things.
Well, there's so many resources there, and it's only as good as you implement, right?
Yep, that's right.
I mean, so what is the point of doing this if I'm not going to learn and grow and use it?
That's right. And, and I have to say, I wish that were the case for everybody. Every once in a while, I'll have somebody on the coaching roster who I need to kind of have a sit down with and to be like, okay, time out. Like, why aren't you doing the hard work? But the vast majority of people, they're showing up hungry like you and others, and they're devouring the content and they're making super fast gains,
Well, and it's an investment. I mean, in order to pay for ministry coaching, I'm giving up other things.
That's
and
right.
So
why wouldn't you put your full behind it?
Honor the investment my family is making into this.
That's exactly right.
Otherwise, that has not been a good steward of the resources God gives
me. And you are not the only one, right? By and large, the vast majority of people, their church is paying for coaching for them. But there is a handful of people who they are paying out of their very own hard-earned dollars, and that's you. Right. And you, as they say, where your money is, there your heart will be also. And so you have taken this seriously. You have been a fantastic beneficiary. And so I want to ask the question, how has coaching benefited you as a person as well as a ministry leader?
Well, as a person, it's just helped me gain the confidence I needed. Because stepping into a ministry role where there's a lot of conflict and tension really can eat away at your self-confidence.
Yep.
And so having someone to talk through and come up with plans and processes gave me a level of confidence that I did not have. So that I could move forward.
Yep. And I remember watching you gain confidence and watching you begin to grab onto phrases and to then repeat those phrases and find great success in a tense leadership meeting where all of a sudden they're like, I remember one time that your boss basically my words, not his, was like, where are you getting where are you getting all of this wisdom and this leadership? And it was your own life experiences, but also things that we were talking about, which was very inspiring to me.
Right. And just having someone else to have that conversation with that, is a godly person, is giving you godly wisdom, who's also been in ministry, so understands what this is. And then, because being in ministry is a different animal than being in the regular world.
It is.
And so having someone as a coach who has walked that road and understands the nuances of ministry, invaluable.
Yes. I would agree in that, it's different than being a banker. I've never been a banker, but it's different than being a banker. I guarantee it. And it's a unique context. Not only that, but I appreciate what you said about having somebody to talk it through with. And here's why I think that's so important, Cathy, because when we talk about it out loud, we are rehearsing our language that we can use later.
Right.
That's so important.
So important.
Can you share a story where coaching really helped you to navigate a complex ministry situation? With us, over 4 years, I can think of about a dozen.
What has it not? Let me think through. Well, so let's talk about when I was navigating when it was time to leave my last ministry position. I was leaving not because anything bad was happening or
the ministry was growing. They were thriving. The ministry
was growing. I was like at the sweet spot of ministry.
And by the way, before you go any further, I hope that you can look back and remember how frustrated I was for you. I was like, I didn't want you to quit.
Oh, you were so mad at me. You're going, what are you doing?
Because we had gone through what I would call, and we do this in the coaching, the storming phase and then the norming phase. And together we were just getting ready to enter into the performing phase. And I was like, wait a minute. But it was the right move. And I respect you for it.
It was the right move. And I did not understand it at the time. I just knew God told my husband and I it was time to come home, to be near our children and our grandchildren. And he and I were serving on church staff together. So the church was losing 2 of us. But we just felt at peace that this is what was next. We were to move. I kind of felt like Abraham when God told Abraham, go.
Yeah. to a place, go to a place that you don't yet know.
Right. Everyone's going, what are you doing? Where are you going? We're going, we just know we're going there.
Yes.
And being faithful to that was really complex because we had to sell a house. Both of us were on church staff, so we had to leave well, and we wanted to leave well.
That was
there was some reason not to.
That was part of where I feel coaching came in quite
right.
Was very valuable to you to learn to figure out how to leave well.
Right, because we gave them a 3-month notice.
Yes.
And so in that 3 months, we could walk through how do I set up my successor for success?
Yes.
What are things I need to have in place and leave behind? Because when I took over,
there was nothing.
Passwords, nothing. I did not know where any of the accounts were, where the passwords were.
Yes. That's what I call, Cathy, there's a big difference. I want to speak into this really quick because I tip my hat to you, because when we leave a ministry role, you are either going to leave a mess or you are going to leave a bless. And guess what? Right. You walked into a mess. You didn't even know what the passwords were. You didn't know where any files were. You knew nothing. That was called a mess. But right. you exited and you handed somebody a bless.
Right. And I left in October and I had everything planned through December of that year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a notebook that was step by step on everything.
I believe you called it the battle book.
It was my battle book. And
That's right.
Yeah, it had a step by step of how to do anything I did. I took notes for 3 months and wrote it down. So that was complex. So how to leave a ministry well.
Yes. And that has been complex. Something. Yes, it is complex. And that is something that I don't know why, but that's something that I have been given and stewarded. I've been given a stewardship to help people leave well. And not everybody, of course, but there have been a strong handful of people that I've done coaching with that was something that we walked through together about how to exit well. So I appreciate you sharing that story. As it relates to lead ministry, we have, of course, 12 or 13 full-length courses. What would you say is the course or courses that have benefited you the most, or maybe the ones that you would say are your faves?
The very first one I go back to often, and that's the lead volunteers on setting up your systems and getting everything in place. That one's really good. Leading meetings.
Yeah.
Love that one.
Yeah.
Leading up was very helpful for my last situation.
Yes. At your last church, when you had a boss and you needed to persuasively get your ideas and your plans pushed through. How do you lead up to a senior leader who might not be so inclined to listen to you? We'll leave it at that.
So, yeah, I think all of them at different times in the last 4 years have been beneficial. Yes. I think that first one I go back to over and over again.
Oh, yes. That lead volunteers it's the flagship foundational course for sure. But you know what? I think right now, aren't you going through Lead Out? Is that what's going on next with you? Is that where we're at?
Yes, that's where we're at. Lead Out and Lead Events, because we're planning this huge launch of a grandparent ministry at our church. And our whole goal is to be a good neighbor to our community. Our community is an aging community.
Mm-hmm.
But grandparents are becoming more and more involved with their grandchildren. I think I heard a statistic, 2.3 million grandparents are raising their grandchildren. So we want to start a grandparenting ministry that's not just a senior adult ministry that takes trips, but something that's going to equip grandparents to leave a lasting legacy, not only for their grandchildren, but for their grandchildren's grandchildren.
That's right. And to set the trajectory in the right direction. Right.
And since we're a church of senior adults, it seems like that is the perfect ministry for us to get involved in.
That's quite true. And you have been faithful to continue just to plug through and go you do courses and to implement strategies. And I really, really, really respect that. Here's another question for you. What is something, I know that this sounds like a repositioning of a former question, but it has a different angle to it. And the question is this: what is something unique that has stuck out to you or stuck with you from one of our times of coaching? Something maybe even odd, who knows?
Oh gosh, now. So I'm thinking of just on the lead volunteers, when you drew the box on how to onboard volunteers.
Keep going.
Was when you bring a volunteer on, so often we just stick them in a classroom because we're so happy to have a warm body. But you watch me teach. Yes. You help me teach. I
watch you teach.
I help you teach. And then I watch you teach, and then you're on your own. So just having that mindset has helped not only in just volunteers, but I use that with my team as I hired people. Yes. And even now, as I'm thinking through teaching adult discipleship classes, and others have said, hey, I'd like to teach as well. So we're going through that process with even adult teachers. Yeah.
And I'll say, Cathy, it's so much, it's not as effective, but it's a lot faster to just go, oh, you want to teach? And here's a slap on the back and I'll see you later. And that's not kingdom. That's not effective. That's not discipleship. But to go, okay, that's great. And it's, by the way, that little box or whatever, it's not a 4-week process. It could be a 4-month process. It could be a year in 4-month process where they are watching you. You are dialoguing. You're helping them. You're now watching them. And there's this whole feedback loop. And so I appreciate that you've shared that, because that's a very important thing that is, and by the way, it helps people. It helps people to stay with a role as opposed to, trying something out and being like, this is totally not for me. Well, no, it probably is for you. You just didn't get trained. Right. And let's set people up for success and let's mentor and coach them. Because then everyone wins. Everyone wins. So that's one unique. And the other thing I wanted to say was, sometimes we'll get on a coaching call and we'll have a plan for what that meeting's going to be. And you'll say, what is it you need to talk about today? And we've gone totally off rail. That's right. There was something. And so being able to have a coach that I could just not follow an agenda with. That's exactly right. If I needed to go off and dialogue about something else. Absolutely. And so I think about, we often call it off-roading, right? Like I have a particular preset plan that if you're like, just go with the plan, I have that. However, my opening question every single time is, what would be the biggest win or victory for you today by the end of this call? And you might say, you know what? I am meeting with the senior pastor and I think it's going to go well, but I really need to walk through this whole thing. And so then that's our agenda and that's what we deal with. And, time and time again, it blesses my heart, Cathy, when all of a sudden I got goosebumps when you text me or you email me or we talk and you go, it went way better than expected. Yeah, just having someone to be able to flex like that and meet me right where I'm at in ministry and help me work through those things. Yeah, I don't know. And that's the unique thing. That's the unique thing about the lead ministry coaching piece is that on one hand, we have 12 power-packed courses. And that is part of the agenda that we want to work through together and talk about. But on the flip side, it is completely personalized and tailored to meet you with what's going on today, in this week, in this month. And,
exactly.
And it's been quite a success story to see this. Maybe we could talk at another podcast, because we talked a little bit about your previous church, but the neat things that are happening in your current church, they're actually astounding. And I'm having the time of my life living vicariously through you. I can tell you that. So, but I want to say this as we kind of close out today. I want to close with this kind of let's do it mentality. Why should others consider getting a coach? In other words, what would you say to someone who is on the fence about having a ministry coach? Now, before I turn you loose on this, Cathy, I want to say, it's been 4 years since I've had a podcast about ministry coaching. So the last time that I had a podcast about ministry coaching, that tipped you over the edge. So who knows whether or not somebody out there in podcast land is like, you know what? I need this too, just like Cathy did. So what would you say to somebody?
It's an investment in the ministry God's called you to do. When you invest in coaching, you're investing in the ministry that God has put in front of you.
Yeah.
And I cannot stress enough how invaluable that is, having someone that you can just walk through this together that has no strings attached. Mm-hmm. That you can just be yourself and you can walk through and help you process all the different aspects of ministry. Mm-hmm. Just do it.
Just do it. I couldn't agree more. And I have to say that I wished that I could take 50 people, because I really do enjoy this work. But I truly intentionally limit myself to 12 so that I can have the level of depth of relationship. I can't have the type of relationship that I have with you with 50 other people.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's only absolutely. I only take 12, and everybody has my cell and my text, and it's at a moment's notice. Hey, what's going on? It's got an emergency. What's going on? So then the way that I've gone about the idea that I can't have 50 of me is that I have other coaches, and that's my means, and and God is going to use those people to help fulfill the mission. Well, Cathy, it's been a blessing. It is always a blessing to talk with you. The seminary work that you're doing and the new work that you're doing at the church, every call, and we have one next week. Oh, and by the way, I am coming to town, and I'm going to be a part of your installation at your church, and I'm just super excited. I'm telling you, I probably would have flown in. I would have flown into that, but it just happens to be that I'm going to be doing the chemistry show 15 minutes away, right?
Right.
So that kind of works.
Perfect timing.
It is perfect timing. Well, thank you again so much for joining me today. And gang, this has been the Lead Ministry Podcast. We are grateful that you're here. Hey, listen, if you were on the fence, go to leadministry.com/coaching and check out what it might mean for you to invest in the ministry that God has called you into. And we will catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.